Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today we'll start the Sanhedrin daf Mem Daled. We are going to begin on the top of Mem Daled Amud Aleph, the second line from the top. We were learning in Sefer Yoshua about Achan, who had taken the spoils of Yericho, and subsequently there was a battle in Ai in which many died. And it was discovered through a gairul, through a lottery, that in fact it was Achan, and he was punished accordingly, but at least he did tshuva. On this, the pasuk in Yeshua says, Chati Yisrael, and he said, Rabbi Abba bar Zavdaf b'shechata Yisraelhu. A very important line, that even if a person sins, you're still a yid. You're never going to be oisa yid. This is what people say, that asa dekoy beni chilfi asa. A willow, an asa, like a hadas, a beautiful hadas, among willows is still an asa. Shmei, asa shmei, v'asa karile. We still call it an asa. Even if it's surrounded by willows, doesn't matter. It's still considered to be a stature, a very chashava tree, or branch. V'gam overes brisi, Asher Savisi Isam, and also he violated this bris. Gam Lochu min hacherim, he took from that which he wasn't supposed to take. Gam Gonvu, he stole. Gam Chochshu, he denied. Gam Shmoi Soma B'Kalehem. So Amar Rabbi Lo Mishum Rabbi Huda bar Mesafrata Mulamet Shavar Achan al Chamisha Chumshi Taira. Actually, he violated all five. Everything in the Chumash. All five books, Shnemer Chamisha Gam. It says the word Gam 5 times. So why does it have to have it repeated? As though to demonstrate that which is 5, namely the Chamisha Chumshi Torah, he violated. The Yom Rabbi Yomi Shem Rabbi Huda Bar Mesafrata Achan Meishach Bar Lasohaya. He actually took his arla to conceal it, so that people wouldn't see they had a bris milah. Ksiv Hacha v'Gam Avares Brisi. We're referring to a bris. Ksiv Hasem es Brisi Hafer. So pshita. So l'chayra, that which Rabbi Elah said is actually in the pasuk itself, right? Gufi Omar the overall kol Torah. We already know he violated the whole Torah. So madatema b'mitzvah gufa loy pakar kamash one. Maybe the mitzvah of bris he did not. Says Rashi, hifker atzmo kolkach. He wouldn't have been mafker himself so much that he would have done this to the bris meal kamash one. But he also neval b'yisrael Rav Abba bar Zav l'lamed shabal achan nair hamarasa. Fan says navala. He was manuvel with a naira hamarasa. As because the pasuk says ki yasasa naval b'yisrael. Ksiv hacha ki yasa naval v'ksiv hasim ki yasa naval b'yisrael. So pshita again, obviously, he said he violated everything. So madatem akuli haylul parker nashi kamashwan even did that. Ravina Eimer Dina Kanara Hamarasa de Skila. His din should be like Nara Marasa, that his punishment will be skila. Amaresh Galusal Rabhu Naksiv. The pasuk says Vikach Yeshua Achan ben Zarach. The Yeshua took Achan ben Zarach v'yas Kesef, the monies, v'yas Haderes and the cloak, v'yas L'shain HaZahav and the thread of gold, v'yas Bana, v'yas Manais of his children, v'yas Shaidai, v'yas Chamaidai, v'yas Sono. He took his cattle and livestock, v'yas Aholo, his tent, v'yas Kol Shalo, everything that belongs to him. And the point was to destroy it. So the question is, Im hu chayta banav unaisa machatu. What did the children do wrong? So Malay, according to you, Im hu chayta kol Yisrael machatu. So you have a taina about how come his children would be punished. God's Klal Yisrael got punished. Except b'chol Yisrael imoi ela lir daisan hachinami kedei lir daisan. So it's to subdue them, to learn from this, and that's the same thing over here. Not that they were actually killed, but they should see the kilkel and that took place with Achan, and they should be zahir not to do what he does. V'yisrafu oisam b'eish, so they burn him with fire. V'yisaku oisam avanim, and stone him with stones. But tarti, so understand, what was the punishment? Sreifa, or was it skila? So Ravina haroyel sreifa, or skila. Those that were fit to be burned were burned, like this, the silver, gold, and garments. That was fit to be stoned. For example, himself, his ox, his animals. Says Rashi, "V'kanas hoya lirdais es acherim." Fine. Haroy l'skila skila. Then the pasuk says, "Ve'era b'shalol." It was seen among the spoils. Aderes shinor achas toiva. This fine cloak. Umasayim shkolim kesef, and 200 shkolim kesef. Rav oimer itztala demilsa. This is a pure garment. Shmuel oimer sarvala de sarifa. That it was dyed with alum. A-L-U-M-E. Then the pasuk says, "V'yatzikum lifnei Hashem," that he spread it out before Hashem. Says Rashi, and Itztala demilsa is Tala shel tzerin noki ben yoimo shlo yischalchal samara. Its wool is not ruined. So the pasuk says he spread it out. So Rav Nachman ba b'chavtam lifnei hamakoim, that he wanted to go and hit before Hashem. Because of this, the majority of the Sanhedrin was killed. That when we were fighting against the people in Ai, we were killed like around 36 people. But Tanya so there's one opinion, Tanya shloishim v'shisha mamish. They Rabbi Yehuda. Amram nechem v'chi shloishim v'shisha hayu. Lo nemar el kishloishim v'shisha ish. Why does it say like 36? Say 36. So it must be. It doesn't really mean 36, but it's ki'ilu. El was a Yair ben Menashe sheshakol keneged ruba shel Sanhedrin. This is referring to Yair ben Menashe, who was killed, who is ki'ilu. The majority of the Sanhedrin, of course, the Sanhedrin being 71, so Rav Sanhedrin is 36. Rav Nachman Omer Rav Ma'idich. What does the pasuk mean when it says in Mishlei Tichanunim Yadaber Rosh, that the supplications will be spoken by the poor, V'Asher Yana Azois, and the wealthy will answer with haughtiness. So Tachanunim Yadaber Rosh Zeh Moshe. This is Moshe. V'Ashiyanu Azu Ze Yoshua. So my time, regarding that they spread out before Hashem. So he went and threw it toward Hashem. Ought to what? Pinchas Pinchas didn't do it. Pinchas follow. The Megefa stopped because he davened to Hashem. He was like making a judgment toward God. He went and threw bodies in front of Hashem. For this, you killed 24,000 Yidden. So Pinchas did the same thing. We went from here. That's the Yardin. Moshe Nami Memromer. Lama Hariyais El Amazeh. What's the difference between Moshe and Yeshua? El Mahacha. Velu, if only Hoalenu V'Naishal, that it would be that it was better we never crossed the Yardin. V'Yamar HaYardin. V'Yamar Hashem El Yeshua Kum Lech. Get up because of you. Fine. So what is all this? So look in Rashi. Kum Lech Mishalcha. Umiyadcha haisa zois shaf shaf b'shvilcha ne'enshu, because of you that we were punished. Yours is worse than theirs. That I said, when we cross the Yarden, we'll be standing strong. And you distance yourself very far, 60 mil. Says Rashi, Har Grizim, Har Evel, Rechoikim Shishi Mil Min HaYarden. There's 60 mil rather from the Yarden. It's brought down to the Sota, Shamakimo Savanim, and that's where you set up the stones. Basa Nafak, when he left, Oikim Rav, Amayra Le Vidarish, Kasher Tziva, Shemas Moshe Avdo, just like Moshe commanded. Can't see Moshe Yeshua v'chenas Yeshua. Yeshua did the same thing. He did everything that Moshe did. Lo hasur davar mikol asher tziva Hashem as Moshe. So we see that Yeshua wasn't wrong in his doing. What does that mean? So you are the one that caused it, says Rashi. You shouldn't have caused, there should have been an Isser Biza Sirichoi. And therefore, because there was, and therefore people took, therefore we were punished. So you shouldn't have done that. That's what we said in I. Fine. It's a famous Gemara. When he was in Yericho, he looked up. Lo ki ani sar Hashem, I'm an angel of God. Ato basi, I'm coming now. People Yeshua upon arts of Yishtachu, he bowed down to them. So how could he have known this was in fact a sar Hashem? Rabbi Nachman, Asul Adam Shitin Shol Machavero Bulaylu. You cannot greet your friend at night. Chayshin and Shemashedhu. So Shani Hasam Dikarmele Ani Sar Hashem. Ato basi Goimer. The fact that he said Ani Sar Hashem, so it wasn't a shade, because he said it wasn't a shade. So therefore you had to listen to him. What do you mean? V'dilma mishakri. How do we know that he's not lying? Maybe it really is a shade. A shade, even though it would lie, would never say Hashem's name levatala, and therefore it had to be legitimate. So Amalei. So what is this conversation? This is a Gemara also Megillah. Emesh, yesterday, B'taltim Talmud Shel Ben Arbaim. You didn't bring the carbon Talmud. Yashel B'taltim Talmud Torah, now you're not learning. So Ezahem Boss, are you coming for him? Atu Bossi now, which means we're more upset that you're Mavatal Torah. So Miyad V'yon Yeshua B'layla, he went to sleep. B'layla hu, B'taycha Amok in the depths. Yom Rav Yochanan Malamed Shalon B'amukah Shel Halacha. Doesn't mean he went to sleep, but he was in depth in his learning. Better is learning Torah even greater than bringing Karban. Shnemar Atah now Atah Basi. So we see that it's more important Talmud Torah than anything else. Amalei Abayu Rabdimi Haikra B'Marava. This pasuk in Eretz Yisrael, but my mukmisule. How do they establish? Teitzi l'riv maher. Person shouldn't go in quarrel. Pen matase b'achriyasa. What will end up being at the end? B'halchim oischa ra'acha. They'll end up being bad to you. V'riv riv esreacha. And you're going to increase quarreling among your friends. The Said Achel Tagel. So what does this mean? B'shasham HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yecheskel Leichem Lehem Yisrael, go and speak to the Yidden. That Avyicha Hamari, that referring to Terach, that your father was in a Morai V'imecha Chatis Amra Ruach Peskoinis Lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu B'nei Im Yavo Abraham V'Sar V'Yamdu L'Fanecha. If Abraham and Sarah stood in front of you, Ata Omer Lehem Machlem Oisim, you would say, speak to them, embarrass them. Ribcha Riv Es Ravacha V'Said Achel El Sagel. So, which is referring to Abraham and Sarah. Mi Islay Rishus High. Is it true that the Malach Gabriel had such rishus and such leeway? In Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina Shol Shemus Yesh Lo had three names: Piskoin, Itmoin, Sigroin. So Piskoin Shepasik Davarim Klapi Maila. He used to speak words toward Hashem. It's Tamoin, Itmoin. He comes over the sins of the Jewish people. Sigroin, once his clothes doesn't open up. Let's slow down for a second. So let's see. There's Rashi. There's Rashi's on both sides, by the way. It says, if you're going to rebuke the Yidden, says Rashi, rebuke themselves. Do not reveal their embarrassment. Okay. Gabriel. Does Gabriel really have so much rishus to speak this way toward HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Kiman shesayger she'en lo rishus Lavakish Rachmim, once it's closed up, you don't have any more permission to ask mercy. Kivan Shigavra Chemo, so then Shuv Ein Malach Acher Poisech Bavakasha Kilo Yoyel. Another Malach cannot come in your place. Okay. Fine. Shapois Nevarim Kapi Mala. Fine, so we did that. And then the pasuk says, Hayarchucha Shoecha Lo Batzer. That did you appear and to scream without travail. So Rabbi Lezu, Oyam Yaktam Adam Tfil with Sarah. The person should always daven before the trouble happens. You should preemptively think of what could happen. Shilmali lo hikdam Avram Tfil with Sarah. If Avram didn't daven first, Ben Beis El Ben I, which he was being mispalel for the future days of Yoshua, that there's going to be a problem in I, when Nishtayim Rishi Yisrael started Polit. Basically, all of Klal Yisrael would have been destroyed, not just 36 people. So Avram's tefillah was in preparation for eventually this end up happening. Rish Lakish Omer, Kol HaMaimitz Atzma B'Tefillah. Anyone who strengthens themselves in tefillah, milmata below, ein lo tzar milmal, they'll have no prosecutor above. If Yochanan Oyel Mivachashan Barachimim Shihu Hakol Ma'atzmin Es Koichai, the Aliyahu Lo Tzar Milmala. So a person should always have rachamim with all of his strength, so not to have travails above. Okay. Let's possibly see a question here, or more than one. So basically, who are the people that we see that they spoke toward Hashem? So there's actually two answers. It's Pinchas and Yehoshua, which is actually maybe the same question over here. Okay, we didn't get that. Let's see. Mahu Hashem Hanoisif Al Shal Achan. I don't think we did that one yet. TA 3023 we did, which is on Mem Dal Al Kaman Nehargam Yisrael Day Anshi Hai. How many died? So either this is question 23, either 36 or Echad Sheshaka Kineglam Avav Hu Yarbe Menashe. That's TA 23. Okay. Let's just find that. TA 23, which again is on the previous Amud. So either it was Shloisha V'Shisha Mamish, that is the sheet of Rabbi Yehuda. Nehemiah said no, it was actually, it's Zeh Yar Ben Menashe Shakul Keneged Ruba Shel Sanhedrin. Question 24, TB 24. Oilam yaktim adam tefila with sorrow, mimatzinu shasakain v'nitzol. So who is makdim tefila with sorrow? So we find this. I got this question wrong. TB 24. I wrote Yoshua, but it's not really completely true. It's shemoli lo hikdim Avraham tefila with sorrow. Bain Beis El Bain I Lunishtarim Yisrael Yisrael started Polit. So it's really by Avraham, who was Mispalel at I. So it saved all Klal Yisrael. That's the correct answer. Okay. That was TB 24. All right, let's keep going. Menayin shechiper lo vida v'chu. So again, when a person's dying, you should say vidoy, you should confess and do tshuva, and you'll be forgiven. Of course, you're going to be killed, but you'll have an olam haba. Tanabana menayin shechiper lo vidov. So how do we see this by Achan? Shnemer b'yermelo Yoshua ma achartanu yarchecha Hashem hayom Hashem. That in the middle of this day there is discoloring and disorder. So hayomazah ato ocher. That's cloudy and murky. Viato ocher oil haba because you did shuva. V'ksiv uvnei kair zerach. One of the kids is Zimri. So one of the children of Zerach is Zimri. V'esan v'himun v'chilcha v'dardeya kulam chamisha. So my kulam chamisha om 5. Kulam chamisha hein l'om haba. All 5 are going to go om haba. Ksiv Zimri v'ksiv achan. So which one is it? Was his name Achan or was his name Zimri? So Rabbi Shmuel Chadayim or Achan Shmuel. His real name was Achan. But Achan Shmuel Zimri Shasa Masa Zimri. He acted like Zimri did in the times of Pinchas. As we saw before, he was boiled in Amarasa. V'Chadayim Zimri Shmuel V'Omnikra Shmuel Achan She'ichron Avoyasehim Shel Yisrael, that he encircled the sins of Israel. So if you don't know the nusach, you can just say that my avoinah should be mechaper. So v'nako atzmo. So the question is, relatives of these people came up with Edom to persecute and kill Shimon Shetach. So v'nako atzmoi. So kadesh lo haitzilaz al batidinim v'al ha'edim. We don't want to be maitzilaz on the witnesses out of the courts. Tanaban masabad mechad shiatzel harig was out to be killed. Amar im yeshli avain zeh. If I have the sin, lote misasi kaparu l'chol avanoisai, then I shouldn't be given a forgiven. Which basically is saying that I didn't do this. The im ein bi avain zeh te misasi kaparu l'chol avanoisai. Ubesin v'chol Yisrael menukin. The Beis and Kol Yisrael are clean. Ve'edim lo tehil lehem mechila oilam. But the witnesses should be no mechila. Uksheshamu chachamim b'davar. When they heard this, Amru, they said lach 0 to basically to add it and not kill him. So he said lach 0 to have him come back and go back and to refigure everything out. The Yesher, Shikvar Nigzer Gezerah, because already Gezerah against them. El Yahari, kill him. Be Koyler Tolib Sovereign, he has chains on his neck. Fine. Edim Pshita, Kol Kamine. Understand, he starts speaking about there should be Mechila for the Edim, so what does he have? He doesn't know what he's talking about. So he answers, Lutzricha de Kahadri Bahu Sahadi. The Edim agreed to the person that he's actually innocent. V'chi Hadri Bahu, so my Havi. Understand, but so what? Even if they change their mind, that doesn't help, because you can't just change your mind. Even though a reason was given for them, like the story of a person who needed a tax collector. Okay, we're going to stop there, but let's look at this Rashi. Amr, im yeshli avin zeh lo tehemi sasi kapar li. Im enu kain tehemi sasi kapar al chol v'noisai. B'koiler totally mitzaver edim. So when it comes to being chained up, it's totally on the witnesses. V'shamu elu v'chazru b'hem v'nosnu talmud v'reihem machmas sinas or kinas hanoshim v'afal pikin lo nifter. Okay. So again, the relations of the witnesses come up with Adim to persecute and kill Shimon Shetach, but still he was killed. Okay, let's see maybe another question. Mahu Shem Handaisav Shal Achan Madua Nikra Kain. So there's Zimri. So one answer is Zimri. Kivan Shinayev Kizimri, he was Mazana like Zimri. V'chein Nenshu was punished for Nogfu Yisrael Yodo, and he was chosen, he was killed that way. Commotion of Hargu, but Magefa Alide Zimri, just like by the Magefa of Zimri, he was killed, so too this person as well. So Achan resembled in many ways to the time of Zimri. Okay, nothing in question TA and TB. Adkan.